This isn't doing so good. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Dynasty back with some more Mortal Kombat 1 MK Uno on this Wednesday afternoon because been about a week since Mortal Kombat 1's most recent DLC expansion pack, Chaos Reigns, was released. And in this week, we've gotten a bunch of reviews finally coming in via Metacritic. And honestly, guys, I'm kind of shocked because the reviews from both the users and the actual officially confirmed critics on the website pretty much are what we've been echoing as a community. And I'm kind of shocked. I was thinking that the actual critic review would be probably hovering around maybe like a 65 to a 70. It's at a 59. And the user rating is at a 2.1. So safe to say, Chaos Reigns is causing some chaos. If you missed it, I gave my review, my honest thoughts on the DLC expansion maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. Essentially, I rated this DLC a 6.5 out of 10, and I'm glad to see that I'm not too far off from what actual official critics are saying on Metacritic. By far the most, I guess you'd say, reputable website when it comes to compiling reviews from critics and users all alike in the gaming space and scene. So in today's video, doing a deep dive into the Metacritic Chaos Reigns MK1 DLC reviews, taking a page out of Infinite Retro. I saw Fate do a breakdown of this a few days ago, and I figured, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing because we've gotten a bunch of new reviews since then, and it's not making Chaos Reigns look any better. I'll save that. So if you're excited to see me do a deep dive into everything these reviewers had to say about the DLC, it takes you a second. Drop a like on the video. I always do say it because it's the truth. Without you guys, these MK1 videos do not happen. So thank you for still choosing your boy to be your go-to for everything MK1. So I guess we'll kick things off with the official critic reviews. 59 is where we're standing, and it seems like this is probably going to be the highest rated review for Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns. It's coming from COG Connected. Says MK1 Chaos Reigns introduces 3 well-rounded veterans that add even more variety and depth to an already robust roster. The guest characters inject personality into the game, offering you the opportunity to create memorable encounters with iconic figures from video games, film, comics, and television. While the campaign delivers incredible sequences packed with cinematic flair, it falls short in narrative depth. Nonetheless, the game's engaging combat mechanics, diverse character lineup, and stylish sequences ensure that longtime fans of the franchise will still have plenty to enjoy. I honestly feel like they probably could have said the exact same thing and given the actual expansion a 70. I feel like an 80 is being way too generous, especially when you consider the fact that here it mentions how the narrative of the expansion falls short in depth. Throw in the fact that they're also acknowledging guest characters in this DLC expansion as like a positive, but it's really tough to gauge how that's going to be received, given that, well, all we've really seen from the actual guest character side of things in Chaos Reigns is one fatality for Ghostface, and that's it. All we've gotten are just character model reveals from the actual initial trailer, and that's it for T-1000 and for Conan the Barbarian. So I feel like this is a pretty standard cookie cutter safe review to be expected when you're dealing with a WB licensed game, but I think they were being a bit generous. Now, making our way to PlayStation Brazil, they gave the expansion a 60, which honestly, I think is pretty fair. They go on to say Mortal Kombat 1 story expansion is disappointing, a weak plot, and even worse conclusion. Facts. On the other hand, Cyrax, Sector, and Noob have interesting gameplay that doesn't make the DLC as a whole dispensable. So that's pretty much exactly what I echoed in my review of Chaos Reigns. Say what you will about the gender swap of Sector and Cyrax, they're actually pretty competent from a gameplay standpoint. I'm gonna be real. I actually enjoy all the actual characters we got, their playstyle, the gameplay. I think they knocked that out the park. But when it comes to the actual expansion, this is what I keep seeing from everybody in the comment section. A weak plot with a horrible conclusion. What's going to happen with Titan Havoc? We don't get to see what happens with Noob Saibot. Nothing really changed despite us spending 2.5 hours in the midst of this expansion with cutscenes. So I think PlayStation Brazil pretty much gave us my review in a nutshell. Making our way to the next review, at a 60 from GG Recon, they came out and said, it's hard to talk about Khaos Reigns without having that price tag in mind. For $39 or £39, it's simply too lean, relying on the promise of an eclectic mix of characters to come and some long-awaited roster additions to add value to a very short and mostly forgettable story add-on. Again, I feel like this is on point. The one complaint I've seen time and time again in my comment section is the price of this actual expansion. It's too much, especially given that we don't get any new cameo fighters. You really don't get anything for maybe a few more weeks, months in terms of characters, because we don't even know when exactly Ghostface, Conan, and T-1000 are dropping. So when it's like a 2-hour story and just a few new characters for 40 bucks, you know, it's a tough sell when everything's not there at launch. So I think GG Recon was on point. You know, going into my review initially, I would say I'd want to give it a 6 out of 10, but I felt like that was maybe a little bit too harsh. But given that I'm seeing, you know, 50s and 60s on here, I think I should have been a bit harder. But I'm just glad I was pretty much more or less where everyone is reviewing the expansion. Now, God is a Geek came out and said this right here. Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns is disappointing for those expecting a more exciting story, but the new characters are a cool addition. One sentence to pretty much narrow down what we've been saying in the community over the last 7 days. Story was kind of short and got us nowhere, but at least the characters are cool. At a 60, making our way down to Finger Guns at a 50. Finger Guns coming out and saying, in attempting to land another visceral knockout blow, MK1 Khaos Reigns instead Johnny Cage uppercuts itself right in the nads. The underwhelming story chapters undercut the climactic finale of the vanilla campaign, while the new roster is comprised of welcoming returning characters or the uncertain potential of 3 unique icons. For the price of half a game, Khaos Reigns doesn't have the substance to hold this timeline afloat. Again, I think this is on the money. They say the price of half a full game. Hell, man, some games are dropping for 40 bucks, and I feel like you get more replayability out of them than you will with the actual Khaos Reigns expansion at this point in time. Mentioning the vanilla MK1 standard campaign, which gave us that horrible Armageddon multiverse ending, I think it's on point. Finger Guns is spitting. The ending in this campaign is pretty whack in both the expansion and the actual standard base game. Making our way to the next review out of 50 is GameLiner came out and said Mortal Kombat Khaos Reigns delivers solid characters like Cyrax, Sector, and Noob Saibot, along with the usual MK humor and no load times. However, the DLC feels overpriced, offering only 2 hours of story content for a steep price of 50 euros. While visually impressive and enjoyable for the hardcore fans, it's hard to justify the cost compared to other entertainment options. And again, I just said it, for this price, you can get another game that gives you so much more replayability. So unless you're a hardcore fan of either Sector, Cyrax, Noob Saibot, what is the incentive when you can watch the 2-hour cutscenes on YouTube the day it launches? What is the incentive for this? Out of 50, I think GameLiner, again, like the other reviews, 100% on point with this. And do you notice nobody's mentioned the free animalities? Kind of just being overlooked. No one's even mentioning that. No one so far has mentioned animalities. Now, the next review is coming from Push Square, again at a 50. They go on to say, while the Chaos Reigns expansion does come with a full combat pack 2, including guest characters later down the line, the story is only around 2 hours long, making this expansion's price, which is almost on par with an entire game, a little questionable. And it doesn't do anything to change the glaring flaws already present in Mortal Kombat 1, such as the terrible invasions mode or the overpriced cosmetics. Whew! I'm telling you guys, the official reviews for Metacritic are coming in swinging. Seems like nobody is content with the price and the quality of content we got with this expansion. Now, we've only got a few more official reviews left. Another 50 coming from The Gamer. Gamer goes on to say, Mortal Kombat 1 hasn't missed once with its post-launch DLC characters, and really, with its roster as a whole, so I'm sure that the rest of the expansion soon-to-be released fighters will be great. But as it stands, I can only talk about these three. While they are some of the Mortal Kombat 1's strongest characters in terms of how they play, they can't make me overlook what is otherwise a weak expansion greatly overshadowed by NetherRealm's last offering. So again, underwhelming, great characters for what they were, but just not up to snuff. And again, we don't know how Ghostface is going to play. We don't know how Conan is going to play. We do not know how T-1000 is going to play. And again, I will say, from a gameplay standpoint, every DLC character we've gotten up until now has been pretty broken and OP, but albeit fun for the most part. I'm just saying, the actual DLC characters along with the actual base roster is one of my favorite rosters of all time. If you would have showed me this roster 3-4 years ago for the next Mortal Kombat game, I would have been so hyped. I truly do think this is one of the greatest rosters of all time, but the cameo system is the cameo system, and, you know, online lobbies, they're still not a thing. But, again, seems like everyone is sharing the exact same sentiment in regards to MK1. Now, this is one of the higher reviews coming from Gaming Bolt. They came out and said, Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns is not without its flaws, but it will appeal to the most hardcore fans thanks to strong performance by the actors behind Havoc and Noob Saibot, excellently directed cutscenes, and brutal animalities. So finally somebody acknowledges the free animalities. Let's give NetherRealm their due. They're pretty damn badass. But that's a pretty generic review. Gaming Bolt. They're like, yeah, Havoc steals the show, and Noob Saibot's cool. There you go. I will say this. The most hardcore fans, I feel like a lot of hardcore fans are either overlooking a lot of the flaws, or a lot of hardcore fans are very disappointed. So, appealing to most hardcore fans, debatable. You gotta be pretty damn hardcore to defend what we ended up getting. Now, Gaming Trend, I don't think we've actually reviewed this one. Gave it a 60. Right here it says, Chaos Reigns doesn't shake up MK1 as much as a chaotic regime implies. Instead, it sticks to what works, or at least what it thinks will work. More story mode, more ninjas, and more guest characters. For me, the ninjas steal the show over a weak story and an unexciting, although yet to be released, guest ensemble. I've seen a lot of you guys, myself included, be pretty underwhelmed with the remaining KP2 characters. The guest Ghostface is kind of cool. I really don't care for Terminator T-1000 or another Arnold guest in a Mortal Kombat game. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to some of those, but for me personally, and all the recent MK guest characters that we've gotten in packs, I feel like MK1 is probably the least appealing to me. Now, I do believe this might be the last official review on Metacritic in regards to MK1. This is coming from GLHF on Sports Illustrated, who sadly has not given a rating yet. Don't know if they'll be waiting for the rest of the DLC, but it says, a year on, Mortal Kombat 1 is still plodding along. If you felt a bit gore-deprived recently, Khaos Reigns is a great way to refresh your sicko meter and have some fun with friends. But even with infinite combos and a variety of new characters, MK1 still feels stuck in the mud. Hopefully the next Mortal Kombat game will take place at a timeline where the gameplay doesn't feel stiff, though I'm not sure even the Kamidogu can help with that. So does not necessarily seem to be dialed in or focused on the actual expansion. This seems more like a general Mortal Kombat 1 review. So, you know, even in this general review, it seems like they're underwhelmed with even the gameplay. And if anything, that's kind of shocking because usually you either love or hate the gameplay. And it seems like the gameplay is the one thing MK1 had going for it for a lot of people. But according to that reviewer from Sports Illustrated, they weren't a fan. So there you go. This is all the critic reviews, official critics for Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns. It's currently sitting at a 59. I do not think it's going to change drastically here on out, which is why I kind of wanted to wait about a week out to actually go and do a deep dive into this, because I wanted to give everybody more time to, you know, make the most of the expansion. But the critics are not happy. 59, pretty damn mid, and all of this is being based on the PS5 version of the game as well. It's probably worth noting. Now, you knew we'd eventually get here. We got the PlayStation 5 user reviews for Khaos Reigns. It's currently sitting at a 2.1, 12 negative, 1 mixed, 2 positive. So the community, not even the official critics, like you'd imagine, not too happy. Here's the one actual review with some substance, if you want to call it that, from Akuma. Came out and said, "What an embarrassment for Mortal Kombat, changing the genders of characters to show some sort of woke propaganda. Will not buy for that shit. Go woke, go broke." So they're not too happy with the gender swaps for Sector and Cyrax, and they gave it a 1. This is currently where we're at for Mortal Kombat 1's Khaos Reigns, a 59 and a 2.1. Like I said, I gave it a 6.5 because I felt like that was pretty general and I'd say albeit fair given the guest characters have not dropped yet, but I initially wanted to give it a 6 out of 10, and I kind of wish I would have given it a 6 out of 10. It is what it is, man. This is kind of where we're at. So again, took a page out of Fate's book. I saw Fate react to a few of these, and I wanted to do my own take on this as well because I knew a bunch of new ones would pop in at the end of the month going into the beginning of October. So what do you all think of this? Do you think that the Metacritic rating for the DLC expansion is on point? Do you think it's far off? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And again, if you are enjoying Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns, I'm happy for you. This video is in no means meant to sway you to hate the expansion. If you paid the 40, 50 bucks and you feel like you got your money's worth and you're content and happy with everything that's going to be dropping in the future in terms of guest DLC, you name it, hey man, that's awesome. However, if you felt like this was just a very underwhelming DLC, at the very least, you can know you're not alone now. Because the reviews are in, and the reviews say Khaos Reigns is mid. If you guys enjoyed the video, it takes you a second, please drop a like on it. Subscribe for some more MK content like this on the channel. Till next time, been your host, Boon Dynasty. You guys please stay curious, stay safe. I love you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.